This is my audience. This is my narrative speech. Ever since I was a little girl, from television to real life, I have watched people repair and rebuild many houses for others. The things I watched these people do were so unbelievable that I could not believe that I could ever be able to do this. World Changers, a program designed for teenagers who are willing to help others who live in poor conditions, would soon change all of this. Like many churches, for 1 week during the summer, my youth group would pack up and travel to different states to repair any house conditions, ranging from shingling roofs to practically rebuilding a house from the ground up. Before I was able to go on the trip, I was required to take a class of the basics of what I would be doing throughout the week. The first hour into the class, I already had a million doubts racing through my mind. Needless to say, I became extremely unsure of myself and my abilities, so I backed out of the trip. As I watched all my excited and cheerful friends climb onto the bus, I regretted my decision even more. I told myself that next summer, I was going on this trip no matter what. I was determined to face all my doubts I had and prove to myself that I could really do it. As the next summer drew near, I found myself having the same doubts, if not more than I had faced the summer before. My family and friends encouraged me and calmed my nerves as much as they possibly could about my decision to take the trip this time around. Before I knew it, I had my bags packed and I was ready for the trip. I found my nerves and doubts to completely leave my mind as I traveled the long road to Knoxville, Tennessee. My friends told me stories of all the experiences they'd had at World Changers in the years before. The stories they told me ranged from how one crew worked through a terrible rainstorm in order to complete their job, to all the wonderful new skills they had learned. The stories were incredible, and I could not believe I had missed out on all the things they were describing to me. This was going to be the year to prove myself that I could really do it. As we arrived in Knoxville at the school we would be staying at, all my nerves and doubts began to gather inside my head again. Would I really be able to do the jobs I was asked to do? Would I be strong enough? I was finally here, and there was no backing out now. I walked into the huge auditorium. This was the place where I would meet teenagers who had come from many different churches to help in the same way I was there to help. Each person there would be giving a specific crew name. After service, I would find my specific group and meet all the other teenagers who had been assigned to the same crew. My crew ended up being referred to as the Bone Crushers. As I was sitting with my crew, waiting for everyone to find their correct group, by talking to the others around me, I learned that I was not the only one who had many doubts in their abilities about the upcoming challenge. Finally, my leader handed out my crew's schedule to everyone. As I had expected, we would be doing many difficult tasks this week. The next morning was my first day of work. I put on my work clothes, got all my tools together, and headed toward the bus. It would take us about 30 minutes each morning to get to our work site. The long bus ride only gave me time to get all my doubts back. This was the last time to think about all the certain doubts I had before I finally had to face them. Around 30 minutes later, we arrived at the house. I hoped it would look perfectly fine and not require any work at all. Boy, was I wrong. Unfortunately, it turned out way worse than I ever expected. The roof was a mess. Shingles were everywhere. They were missing from left to right. And words could never begin to describe how rotten and demolished the house looked altogether. This was going to be a lot of work. My first assignment was to take all the rotten wood off of the house. With all my nerves and doubts rising to the surface, I closed my eyes, grabbed my hammer, and began pulling out nails as fast as I could. Once I put all my nerves and doubts behind me, everything became so much easier than I had expected. I began tearing boards down in a matter of seconds. Before I knew it, I had taken every single board down all by myself. I was overwhelmed at the time and had never been more excited or proud of myself. My next task was to put new boards in every spot I had taken them off. This task came just as easy guy on my crew helps me a little, of course. Many people on my crew were shocked at the effort that I showed, but what they didn't know was that their shock was nothing compared to what I had in myself. The next day I was required to help shingle the roof. I climbed up the roof and began working hard to get yet another job done. Even though shingling the roof took a few more days, it also came very easy to me, just like the task I completed the day before. As the week went by, all my doubts completely disappeared. It might have taken me a while to learn this, but through my experience at World Changers, I learned that it didn't take someone on television or a strong, powerful person to accomplish that great task. I could do anything that I put my mind to. You may pass around my tool thing that I used at World Changers.